Uh, testing, testing, one, two. Buckle my shoe. Is that how it goes?
I got it.
You're working now?
I had to get my headphones all tuned in.
Okay.
Usually they stay where they were the day before, but
Well, good morning, y'all. I'm Richard Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp. And I'm Lee Barrows.
And now that we've gotten all that out of the way,
Yeah, we did.
time to go home.
Friday. I don't know how everyone else is feeling.
It's finally Friday. One day closer to Monday, shaping up to be a pretty nice
You always have to ruin it for me.
weather-wise.
One day closer to Monday.
Well, it is. But there's always possibility that things will change today. So you never can tell. Looking back in history, I love these historical moments that I've started redoing because sometimes I learn things. Actually, I learn things every time I look at them because I'll see either that or it's something I remembered, but I don't remember remembering it. We're talking about the events that may not have been newsworthy at the time, but over the years, things that we have learned, those things were pretty important back then. You've heard the lyrics about Lizzie Borden, right?
Oh, yes.
Lizzie Borden, what was it? She gave her parents 40 whacks or something.
With an axe?
Accused of killing her parents, hacking them to death with a hatchet. The woman who was freed by a jury. Another woman who was freed by a jury, finding her not guilty on this date in Massachusetts in the year 1893.
Kelly. Holding me back, Kelly.
Here we go.
30 years earlier, in 1863, smack dab in the middle of the American Civil War, West by God, Virginia was admitted into the Union. It became the 35th state to be admitted, but only the 24th if you actually consider the states that had dumped the Union at the beginning of the war between the states. Only two bosses in my entire life I could not get along with. Both of them came from West Virginia. In 1947, on the 20th of June, notorious syndicate crime boss Bugsy Siegel, he joined so many other scumbuckets, died as he lived, not by the sword, but by the gun, shot to death while he was fooling around with his mistress, Virginia Hill. Interesting name Miss Hill had. In 1963, while we were learning how to hide under our school desk in the event the big bomb was dropped, y'all don't remember those times, do you? What to do in case of a nuclear fallout? Hide under your desk. Why? Okay. Why? I never could understand that. The United States and the USSR agreed to set up a hotline on this date in 1963, a direct line that the leaders of the two nations could reach out and call each other to let them know how many missiles they had already launched. I got you. In 1782, Congress finally adopted the Great Seal of the United States. Congressional action came at a breakneck speed in those days, too, just like it does today. 6 back and forth banter to figure out that we need to adopt this particular seal.
Could you imagine?
Really? The event that changed the way we get scared came on this date in 1974.
All right.
Millions of Americans headed for movie houses to check out the much talked about
I know what it was.
of
Jaws.
Jaws. Yeah, forever changing the reactions of beachgoers who jump and scream every time a tiger brushes their legs while they're standing in 2 inches of water.
Correct.
I tell you, I know y'all saw the Jaws when it came out in the theaters. Kelly was kind of young, but you did see it there, right?
Sure did.
At the big screen?
Yep, I did.
Was there a lot of screaming going on in the theater?
Yeah, and jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody was, right?
yeah. But I remember, yes.
What were your first thoughts, first time you saw it?
I'm never getting in the ocean ever again. I was a kid, and I can tell you I thought that.
Lee?
Exactly the same thing. I'm
And
done
then-
with the ocean. And we used to go surf fishing.
Oh yeah.
And you get out there to about your knees.
Drag those bloody fish up there.
You'd be surprised.
Trolling for sharks.
You're out there in the surf. You'd be surprised what's actually swimming by you at that time. So between Jaws ruined the beach for me.
We went to we used to go up to Ocracoke every year. I went with my dad and the Rotary Club he was in at the time. They had a long weekend surf fishing at Ocracoke, right? And there was one guy out there. He was young. Well, all of us were younger. And there was a shark. They kept circling around when the guys were pulling in fish there in the surf, right? It was a small shark. It's probably 3 or 4 feet long. He cuts a head off one of the fish that he caught, and he puts it on a big old hook that he had and threw it out there right in front of the shark. Well, he emptied that spool of line on the reel, and he was still going. That shark took off.
Have you ever been on the pier when somebody brings up a shark?
Oh, yeah.
Clear the area.
Yeah. They brought up one on the old Paradise Pier.
The Paradise.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the guys are fishing for kings at the end of the pier, right? So they had big bluefish or smaller bluefish on their lines as bait.
Right.
And a big shark got hold of it.
Dum.
And they got it up.
Dum.
And they got it up. They did it like they did the king mackerels. They got it up and put a big net underneath it. Because you can't just bring one of those up.
Right.
So they dropped the net down there and maneuvered underneath him, and a couple or 3 guys pulled it up and laid him out on the pier. And it was a great white.
Really?
It's about 5 feet long, but it was a great white. Yeah. First time I ever saw one was right there.
I'd be going like,
It
great.
was in the 60s. and the guy came out and said, I'll go get my gun.
Great
He went up there to the office on the pier. And he brought back a 22 rifle. Went back a 22 rifle.
He didn't shoot it, did he?
It bounced off. Somebody said, well, you don't need to be doing that again.
Why not let him go?
Well, they did after that.
The ocean is their home. We're impeding on their home.
They didn't think along those lines in those days.
Shoot.
None of us did. Anyway, of all the jokes I've told,
here we go.
Kelly has only laughed, maybe smiled at 4. Okay, 3. But other folks have laughed.
Okay.
Maybe out of pity for me. I'm thinking right now.
Okay, here we go.
I'm thinking right now I may have something here that might even get a snicker out of you today. What do you think? You want to
Go
try
for it. You can try it.
What kind
Go
of mood
ahead.
are you in?
I don't know. Have a headache, but go for it.
Oh, great.
Go ahead. Let's hear it. I know you're nonsense half the time, so go for it.
You got to understand, I don't make these things up.
No, but you find them and you think they're great. It's the fact that you think these are good.
You know where he's getting these from? Reader's Digest. They're
I
like
believe
30
it.
years old.
Probably 100 years old, but I hear you. Go ahead, Rayford. Do it.
Jennifer, Chris,
Oh my gosh.
Robert, Kathy, I know you're all are going to laugh. Terry,
Okay. Let's hear it.
he's going to crack up. Okay, ready? An old woman, a beautiful girl, an army general, and a young soldier are sitting in the same car on a train.
Okay.
Suddenly, the train goes into a very dark tunnel. They can't see anything. There's a rustle of movement, a loud kiss, and a whap. The train gets back into the light. The general has a red mark on his cheek. The old woman's thinking to herself, good for her. So many young girls today have no principles. That old man kissed her and she slapped him right across the face. The beautiful girl thinks, how odd that the general would choose to kiss that old lady instead of me. The general thinks, well, isn't that a fine thing? That young pup of a soldier here, he steals a kiss from a beautiful girl and I get the slap. The young soldier, what's he thinking? Hey, not a bad day at all. All I had to do was kiss the back of my hand and I got to slap a general and get away with it.
Okay. That was good.
Number 1, next.
You
I
didn't
liked
like
it.
that?
It was fair. Number 2.
That's all I got.
I
I
liked
thought you
it.
said you had 3.
No, he said there's been 3 jokes in his lifetime that
said
he's told you
on the
that you've
3.
Oh,
laughed
yeah.
at.
The
Okay,
laughed.
gotcha. Okay. That was fair.
Why you don't get them is
Look,
because you don't pay attention. I
I,
know what it is.
100 look, don't go there. But
Okay.
you've had a 1 or 2 that I've actually thought were really good, and half of them are lame. Some are decent. That was not.
That was great.
I liked it.
I mean, it wasn't your worst. You've had a whole bunch of.
I knew
I didn't make a list of the bad
it was
ones.
going to be something to do with the young soldier. I knew that, but
Well, it
I
had something to
didn't.
do with every one of them.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I knew that it was.
Okay, I'm going to get you to smile on this one, right? Remember we talking about people who got their just rewards
Yeah.
when they rob bank? Put your headphones on.
Oh Lord, hold on.
Oh,
Give me
yeah.
a second.
It's a 911 call. It starts out with a 911 call, right?
All right. Let's
Are
hear
we
it.
ready?
Go for
Yes. Chris said she laughed.
She's still laying there, or
What?
Is he still laying there?
Was that someone getting hit with an aluminum ball bar? That's what it sounded like. Okay.
Happened in Oklahoma
Uh-huh.
15 years ago or so, and the clerk there, he was an Oklahoma boy.
Okay.
I don't have the whole.
The one screaming and hollering.
No, the one screaming and hollering. You want to see him?
What did he
did
do?
not. He
What-
did not. He was trying to rob the place,
Okay.
and the guy he popped him in the head with a baseball bat.
Well, he didn't kill him.
Well, yeah, well, the guy had a hard head.
Well, was the dispatcher saying like
She
what?
said, is he still laying there or
Well,
something?
he was laying there. There's what he looked like after the fact.
Oh, he is beat down.
He was trying
And
to.
he attempted to rob a dollar store.
Yeah, and yeah, you deserve what you get, right?
Oh, I agree 100% with
He got
that.
about $10 worth of whoops.
Yeah, I mean,
$10 worth of whoop.
Can you imagine that sound? Oh,
That had to have hurt.
Well, he was stoned or drunk, one or
Well,
the
he'll
other.
be suing now.
He was wearing a pair of men's underwear over his head, trying to hide his identity. He's not suing anyone. Anyway, that was an old one. I had the whole entire audio one time, and it was hilarious. The guy, the owner, the clerk in the store, Oklahoma boy, got the perfect accent. You know, I mean, it was perfect. And he said, "Son, I told you, lays down there now. Don't get up. You get up again, I'm gonna hit you." Bam! And the guy got up, tried to get up, and every time, bing.
We were talking about that
That's
not long ago about the days
yeah.
where you usually took a trip to the ER before you went to the jail.
Oh, yeah, things like that happen. So,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, they
I
tripped
thought
and
it
fell.
was- I thought that other people think, God, that's cruel. That man's getting hurt. Got his feelings hurt real bad.
okay.
Is it overreach for our federal government to check all foreign nationals who have indicated on any immigration form that they have registered or voted in a federal, state, or local election? Did you know that there are those who register to vote who say, we are illegal, I'm illegal, I don't have, and I have voted. Now,
I can't imagine anybody actually saying that.
now we're
Okay.
beginning to ask them,
Uh-huh.
and we're catching them.
Okay.
Here's the backstory. Why hasn't this been done all along? But now they're going around doing it. The backstory is that there's a Republican running against another Republican, an incumbent in the great state of Texas. He says that publicly available records have uncovered just routine check 33 cases in his district where illegals have managed to register to vote in Texas.
Okay.
Not a big deal, mathematically speaking. Perhaps not enough fraud cases to change the outcome of any election. But they found 33, and they didn't have to dig for it. They were laying on the top, low-hanging fruit. So, first question, how many more are there? How many do we have in North Carolina? They only found 33, but that's all they found. They didn't have to go any further. They found them. How many other cases among the millions, literally millions of illegal aliens that we have in this country who have come here illegally, how many of those illegals were allowed to register to vote? How many actually voted? I'm not going to scream that there's a chance that the wrong people actually took office based on illegal votes. Probably did not happen. Not that great a chance. Or is there? How long has this been going on? The thing is, if this has happened, even on the smallest scale, perhaps it's a test run. Maybe they're just seeing if they can get away with it. Maybe there's some bigger power at play, like China,
I just can't imagine they would say we're here illegally.
because they were told to do that.
Okay.
Their handlers, and a lot of these groups have handlers, individuals.
Oh, of course they do. Yes.
Okay, back at home.
Yeah.
I'm saying they could have been programmed how to vote. They've told them this is the way you go register, see if you can get away with it, and then go vote. And here's how you vote. They're going to one day, if this is allowed to continue, or if it's not interrupted, they're going to one day take over this country by voting the wrong people in for all the wrong reasons, just because they can. Think it's kind of odd. There are folks out there who believe that aliens from outer space have landed on Earth, have kidnapped Earthlings, taken them to their spaceships, and in some cases have impregnated them. There are people that believe that. We know about it, right?
Mhm.
But those same people refuse to believe that aliens from right here, aliens we know, people that we have identified as aliens illegally entering this country, those folks have infiltrated our societies and have managed to vote the way they've been programmed. Which scenario is more realistic? Aliens from outer space coming down and impregnating, kidnapped Americans? Or illegal aliens being programmed to come into this country and see how much they could get away with and how far they can go?
The second, the latter. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I'm just saying, is it a possibility?
Well, I've got some voter information for you here
Okay.
from North Carolina.
Go ahead.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Lee, have you heard this?
Yeah, I
The North
read it.
Carolina State Board of Elections
Yes.
yesterday announced that voters affiliated with 4 parties, I guess that's what I'm going to call them,
34,000.
are now on as of June 24th will become unaffiliated because the Constitution, Justice for All, No Labels, and We the People parties are now no longer recognized by the state of North Carolina.
And why is that?
Some of them,
Well, you know
never
what I
heard
imagine
of.
will happen next go round when it's time to vote? They'll end up filing papers and the Board of Elections will vote on it and let them back in to be recognized. The same thing happened last time.
Yeah, with the Green Party.
Yes.
I mean,
and,
how does
Justice
that
for
work?
All.
I never even heard of I've never even heard of Justice for All party.
Oh, yeah.
And the No Labels, that
I've heard
was
of that
one that Pat McCrory was really involved in, but I believe he's left that.
Well, here's what occurred after the last election in November.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of nonsense.
The Board of Elections did the check and they said, well,
Yeah.
these groups failed to receive at least 0.2% of the
Right.
total vote
Yeah.
for governor or president.
Mhm.
The parties could always be recognized again by getting petitions from 0.25% of the total voters in last year's governor's race. In other words, say if there were 1,000 voters in last year's race for governor, total voters, they could figure out what 0.25% of those are.
Right.
And if they can get petitions from those people, that many people, then they'll be back voting again. So they got 4 years, 3 years to get it done. The Green Party, still there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it had a presidential candidate on the ballot in at least 70% of the states back in 2024. Did the Green Party here have a presidential candidate on our ballots?
I'm looking
I
right
don't
now because
recall.
I want to see what the numbers were.
Oh,
Here we
I
go.
don't remember.
I can get in there.
Yeah, Jill Stein was a Green Party candidate.
For president?
Oh no. What was she running for? What did she run for?
I don't know.
I just happened to see that. Hold on, let me go back.
But
I didn't know she ran for anything.
at least 70% of the
Yeah.
states had a presidential candidate from the Green Party.
I do think we did have one. I thought there were, maybe
I
not
don't-
here, but I don't know. No,
I'd have to go in there and look at, I'll go in there and look in a minute to see who was on the ballot.
So here's what I'm thinking. I wonder if y'all or any of both of y'all here in Onslow County are registered for any one of those four parties. In a few days, you're not going to be registered. You're going to be
Yes.
unaffiliated.
Well, just to give you some information as it stands today, let me tell you, we have 22 people from Onslow County that are in the Constitution
Okay.
Party, 58 that are in the Green Party,
Well, that's going to stay.
Justice for All, 11 people,
That's 33.
no labels, 529.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I knew that one
we
was
did have a
climbing.
Green Party one here.
Yeah.
Jill Stein
She was for president.
for president.
Okay.
Yes.
We the People, 55.
I don't know who that
And so
That's about 700 or so.
let's go back.
So 700 in Onslow County.
at election results.
is. So,
Interesting.
well, in very quick other news,
Mhm.
did you see yesterday? I hadn't heard a lot about this on the news last night. A big shock. Why? An appeals court sided with President Trump
Mm.
over the keeping control of the National Guard troops.
Yeah.
Saw that, yes.
Yep. He said the appeals court said he does have the right to keep control.
He does.
Yep.
Well, you can federalize them.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a little bit about that, with particularly as it involves the Marine Corps. When we come back, let's do a little bit quick weather here.
Okay.
It's not looking too bad in the ocean. It's looking kind of dark out there right now. There is going to be a chance of showers and thunderstorms.
Mhm.
It's summertime, almost. Westerly winds today, 10 to 15 knots, becoming southwesterly, 5 to 10 this afternoon. Seas 3 to 5 foot, 3 to 5 feet. They're going to be about 7 seconds apart. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. So winds out of the south tomorrow, 5 to 10, seas 2 to 3, 5 seconds apart. Sounds and rivers a light chop again. See, this is a really nice picture here.
Mhm.
Westerly winds about 5 knots on Sunday, becoming southerly in the afternoon. Seas 2
I like that.
2 footers.
I like that.
For your surfers,
Handle
you
that.
ripple riders, you can catch
Yeah.
a wave down. Well, you can catch a bump in the ocean. Sounds and rivers flat, increasing to a light chop in the afternoon. If you're going to do your boating, this is the weekend to do it. Think about showers and thunderstorms and all that sort of good stuff. Take precaution.
Well, on the land, it's going to start off mostly cloudy, and it is super cloudy out there right now. It actually looks like it wants to rain, but
No,
I think it's just cloudy. It will gradually become sunny today with a high of 88. Now, it's currently 95% humidity. It is humid outside, just so you guys know. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 70. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high of 91. Tomorrow night, mostly clear, low of 69. Sunday, sunny, high of 93. Monday, it's going to be 96.
jeez.
Tuesday, the high is 98. That's just rough.
Yeah, we're going to get into the triple digit of the.
I think
Next
it feels
week.
right that way, yeah.
Next week looks
Yeah.
horrendous. Going back to the primary of 2024 for North Carolina, and no, for Onslow County, just for Onslow County. The only people we had on the ballot for president were the Democratic nominees, Libertarians, and Republicans. Nobody from the Green Party, the Constitution Party,
Not on
Yeah.
our ballot,
Justice for All, not on our ballots.
state ballots, or
This was
According
just
to this, it said in Jill Stein, whoever she is, I don't think it's.
she might have been on the state
She was
ballot.
on the
I'm
state
gonna go
ballot,
look right
yeah.
now. But in Onslow County, we just had a Libertarian and to choose from Republican.
And even though the Green Party did not get the 2% required
right.
to remain,
it's because they were on so many
Yeah,
ballots in so many
but
states.
they filed some kind of papers, and because they filed these papers, they're allowed to stay. They weren't one of the 4 that got
Correct.
told. So even though she didn't get, whoever she is, 2% of the vote in North
Now, on
Carolina,
a state
she was
ballot,
still allowed to stay in as a party.
state ballot, the same thing. Democrat, Libertarian, and Republican.
Because this right here said
They're
that
the only
she-
ones that
yeah.
made it. Yeah.
So she must have been maybe primary, and then because it said she did not get the required 2% of the vote for
so
the
she didn't
election.
go on the ballot.
Yeah,
That's why.
yeah.
Because they don't have anybody other than Libertarians,
Yeah.
Republicans, and Democrats listed for the presidential ballot for the state of North Carolina.
But how
for
would
the
they know she
primary.
didn't get 2%? We're talking about in the primary, she didn't get 2%.
She's got to get signatures and turn
She has
those
to
in.
get a
Yeah, okay.
petition. She has
So
to
that's what
circulate
this
a
is saying.
petition.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not the votes.
All right.
Interesting though, Kelly. Very interesting. Yeah, but anybody can start a new
Mhm.
whatever. We could start one of our own.
We
And
already got
then-
one.
And then we can go to the State Board of Elections
The
and say,
deplorables.
we want to be, the deplorable party. We want to be recognized, and as long as we get the right, get the signatures that we needed.
I wonder if we
And then
could,
they have to meet, and then they have to recognize us.
they should just turn the TV on. They can see us. They'll recognize us. That
Might
would be
turn.
fun if
Might.
nothing else is just to, get enough people to sign a petition for us to be on the deplorable ticket.
Hey, this is weird. I have this up, and this is the presidential. This is the primary. Kelly, look at these names on the Libertarians. Okay, it's got David parentheses Trime Taveler parentheses Dunlap. What?
really
I
does say
don't
that.
know.
Jacob Hornberger, Michael Rechtenwald,
Michael Wadham.
Lars Mapstead, Toad Anderson,
No way that's that guy's real name.
Mike Matt.
Yeah, it really does say that. And then look, no preference. Got 2,000 ballots counted.
Yeah, no
Under
preference.
libertarian, no preference. I don't even know what that means. What does that
Y'all
even
have
mean?
absolutely.
This is comical.
It
These names
is,
seem
and-
fake.
well, it's also
I think so.
interesting that people
Toad
want
Anderson.
to vote.
Nobody
they-
named their kid Toad.
They're,
I know. I
Mike,
want
even
to
the West
believe
Virginia
people are
labels.
better than this, but I hear you.
But it's well, it could be a nickname because they,
Did you
Jim is not generally the name that you're given. It's James.
this one right here?
Yeah.
Trime Traveler. They took the R from Traveler and put it on time, and so instead of being Time Traveler, it's Trime Traveler. And see, on the ballot, you can use a nickname. So
Yes, you can.
these are made up. This
Jim Hunt's the one that first got that started in North Carolina. He
That's
petitioned
BS.
because he was James Hunt, but nobody knew him as James Hunt.
Right.
So he wanted to be, everybody knew him as Jim. So he fought and got it put on there.
This is
Yes.
yeah. That's the first time I ever looked at that. That's crazy.
Okay, what do you think? We know L.A. Fortunately or unfortunately, we know L.A. Having its issues with riots and
Yes.
with discourse and whatever else you want to call
And
it.
now the curfew's been dropped.
That was dropped earlier in the week.
It was dropped this first of the week. Yeah.
Well, then they're going to be out at all hours of the night. I
Yeah.
feel full.
They're
Right
going
to
to sleep
this weekend.
sometime.
Mhm.
What as we just talked about, the president, the governor chose not to activate the National Guard.
Mhm.
So the president, he did. He federalized them, and a couple thousand, I think it is. They're not supposed to be patrolling, but they are on the streets in the area to not to assist, but to back up and protect the federal agents who are rounding up illegals. Okay,
Right.
so that's what they're there for. Okay, it was getting a little out of hand, and there were threats against the federal buildings, a couple of the federal buildings there. So Trump also activated or rerouted, called up. I forgot, hundreds, not thousands, of Marines from Camp Pendleton.
Mhm.
And they are doing that, but they're standing around. Well, they're not supposed to be patrolling. They don't have the powers to arrest. If somebody is doing something really out there, outlandish, they can detain and call for civilian law enforcement to come take care of the issue, right?
Right.
Well, there was an Army veteran, 27-year-old Army veteran, wearing sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt. He thought he had enough time to run grab some paperwork from the Department of Veterans Affairs. He had his headphones on, listening to music. He took a shortcut around the Wilshire Federal Building, brushed past some police tape. You know, do not go here type stuff.
Right.
Police line, do not cross. And he just went through that or around it or whatever, refused orders to halt from the Marines. So they got him. Took him into custody. Tie wrapped him, his hands.
Mm.
He told him he's a veteran. He was not any illegal.
Mm-hmm.
He saw this Marine screaming at him, so he did his earbud thing, took it out so he could hear. Got his ID card out, showed it. I'm on my way to the VA to get some paperwork. And they held him for 2 hours
Why?
because he didn't stop for that tape. To me, when you put somebody, law enforcement, civilian law enforcement can detain under certain conditions for a period of time for an investigation. Is there some major law that he broke?
That's what I'm saying. I don't care, cop or not. You've got to have some degree.
These were not cops. These
They-
were Marines.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, even then, there's got to be some degree of
Reasonable suspicion.
common sense. But you got to remember too, Marines are not trained to do this type of stuff.
Nope.
That's not what let's be very clear, folks. That is not what they're there to do at all.
No.
They're trained to kill. Bottom line. Let's just call a spade here. That's what they're trained to do.
They don't run into, when they're deployed, they don't, in their forward areas, they don't run into a lot of good people.
No.
Yes, our wars of today are a lot different than they ever have been.
Agreed.
Vietnam was the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
confrontational things that everybody was your enemy because they were going into villages in Vietnam and checking streets and stuff like that. But not everybody were on the streets where they were checking
Charlie.
were bad people. They would go door to door looking for bad people, looking for the enemy. And a lot of the folks that they were meeting, the Marines, and I had one of them became a good friend of the show here, and up until the day he got out, and then he left and was still calling in from his law enforcement job in Georgia.
Mm.
But they ran into good people who who would provide them information.
Right.
So that's the way things were happening there. But Marines, you're right. Their primary mission is to kill.
To kill. That's what they're there to
They're
do.
there to kill the enemy.
They are there
period.
to do.
But they have to identify the enemy.
Yes, but they're not there to do this kind of what I would call policing.
I don't think there are any of the protesters out there unless they're throwing something at these individuals or shooting at them or whatever. It's hard to classify them as the enemy of our military. Yeah, they might be the enemy of the police, the enemy of the state, but they're not our military enemy, right?
Right.
That's the way that I have to look at that. Charlie's on the left coast. Good morning, Charles. How are you?
Well, I said I wasn't going to call in. I just wanted to comment. First of all, Kelly, it's very nice to see you. But I have a very serious question. I'm not going to dominate this conversation.
Okay.
What do you think the left, the Democrats' ultimate agenda is? Like when you see these votes, like 99% of them, they vote a certain way. What do you think their ultimate agenda is for the United States of America? I'm just going to leave it at that. What do you think they want to see happen? Where do you think that they want the USA to go? I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything else.
Okay.
But I'll listen to you.
Okay.
I'll listen to you.
I really, how do you, I don't even know what a Democrat looks like sometimes because I don't know who's who.
Just watch the news.
I would say I'm going to say disruption of thought process. I think it appears if you listen to a lot of ones that are prominently on TV and stuff like that, trying to get people to think the way they do. They aren't, to me, they seem very closed-minded in terms of if you don't think like they do, they're against you. They aren't willing to listen to compromise a lot of times. A lot of them aren't. Now, some are. I've got some Democratic friends that are willing to listen, but I have some that they will die on that hill. I mean, they just will. But I think a lot of it is disruption. And some of them have agendas, depending on what their quote social cause is. They will do at any length.
But what are they going to gain by disrupting it? I think Charlie's got a good question there. What would be their ultimate goal? Their agenda?
Change of opinion.
Change it to
Change to think the way they do.
Oh, really?
But what do they want? Do they want everyone to accept that everybody's bisexual, everyone's transgender?
Yes.
Do they want everyone to accept that?
Like, Democrats are historically known, for example, a lot of them for let's look at a lot of their platform things. Okay. They're against guns. So there's that, for example. They're against, they want in California, they are against anyone throwing anybody out. It's which I don't quite understand the mindset, because if you look at LA, for example, LA County, they got rid of their DA because they felt like that too many criminals were being let go, but now they're out there hollering in the streets.
But now,
I hated Gascon.
But now they are the.
Yeah, but they were the very people that they were hooting and hollering that weren't being charged with crimes. Now they're like, no, keep them here. You're trying to deport them. You can't have it both ways. That's what I'm saying. It's like they're like puppets. It just reminds me there's a puppet master somewhere, and these are all the little marionette puppets being directed to just do all these things. Some of these people, though, actually, I have a friend that is the most far left human I have ever met in my life. I went to high school with them, and some of their thought process, I've actually talked to them a lot, and one, you can't sway them, but two, they can't tell me why they think the way they do, but they do. Like, they don't want cops. They don't, they want everybody to be able to do, the things that they think should be done. They're anti-gun. I mean, they have issues with schools. They don't like the pledge. They hate the flag. I mean, there's like a lot, and no amount of common sense or even just discussion they won't even entertain someone else's opinion. If you don't think like them, you're against them. And that's what they said. I don't understand it, though.
It's really weird. I live in a neighborhood that's extremely wealthy. Mm-hmm. I have no money. I'm terrified that I can't pay my rent next month. My rent is $1,800. I have $400 in the bank. I live in a garage, but I live around homes that are like $2 or $3 million a month.
Wow.
90% of these people are liberals. Mm-hmm. They're all liberals, but they have gates around their property. They don't invite foreigners in. And there's like this hypocrisy. I really don't get it. I really have nothing. I'm terrified I'm not going to pay my rent this month. And it's funny because they're like, "You're a Republican." I should be a liberal, but I'm an absolute Republican. I'm surrounded by extraordinary wealth, and these people are like, "We hate Trump. We hate," but you're a capitalist. Why don't you take in some of these hundreds of thousands of foreigners into your home? Very respectfully, why don't you allow these immigrants to live with you? They all have gates around their homes. Kelly, I should send you a picture of where I live. It's like, Charlie, I'm in poverty. I live around absolute hypocrisy. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
The neighborhood that I live in, the neighborhood I live in, you should walk through it and drive in, and you're like, oh, these are rich white Republicans. And they're all white, but they're all hypocrites. I've got nothing. I don't get it. And they're all like, we got to take foreigners in. It's like, okay, well, why do you have a gate around your house? Let's open your home to them. I'm not going to go on because I know Raymond, you're going to cut me off. But it really is the hypocrisy. It's just disturbing to me where I live.
But I agree with you, Charlie.
Some of these people have Mercedes, Rolls Royces, and like, we hate Trump. It's like, no. You're a capitalist. You love the money you make. You love the $6 million you make a year. You love the $10 million you make a year. You love the foreigners that clean your toilets and your bathroom. I really don't get it. I'm not going to go on because I know, Rafer, you're going to cut me off. So I'll leave it at that. So maybe you guys can explain to me. I have no clue. I live in a garage. It's 300 square feet. I pay $1,800 a month. And I'm terrified that I'm not making my rent this month. So with that, Kelly, you've always been nice to me, so I'll leave it at that. You guys have a good day. Bye.
I'll rent
Thank
my
you, Charlie.
garage for half that.
But you know, let's look at this too. I mean, how many? Like I said, in the reason they got rid of Gascon, which they thank God it finally had to do it at the ballot box because they tried to recall him 2 or 3 times, but there just enough people vote against it. They were hooting and hollering and crying and yelling that Gascon was letting people off. People weren't getting charged. They're committing all these crimes. They're like our crime rate went up, which it did. But the very people that are, not all of them, but a lot of the people committing these criminal acts are the very ones that are now out there protesting about that they want to keep them here. So which is it? They're either criminals that you want, somebody to do something about, or you're saving them. You cannot have it both ways. But when you ask a lot of times, we've asked on this show for Democrats that listen, and there are some that listen, and I know that for a fact. Explain. No one calls in to explain I don't know that maybe they don't know their own thought process. I don't know, but there's a lot of times, I think there's some of them may be tired of defending themselves, but I'm not asking a question because I'm trying to get into an argument. I truly want to know, why do you think that way? That's all I'm asking. And no one ever answers. I think that's kind of what Charlie's saying, because a lot of them are employing illegals in there, cleaning their pool. They're maids, they're drivers. And why are they doing that? Because they don't want to have to pay taxes on them, for having a domestic help. I mean, bottom line, let's just be real about why they're doing it. And cheaper labor.
Mm-hmm.
Truth is truth.
You're supposed to fill out the paperwork and say that you've employed this person and this is how much money you paid this person if it's over $600 per year.
And you got to pay your fair share of the Social Security and Medicare pay. Yeah, as an employer. Yes.
But at the same time, you're screaming and hollering for these millions of people to continue getting Medicaid and or Medicare.
Mm-hmm. That's what bothers me.
Who are not legally entitled to it.
Yeah, that's what bothers me.
So I'm trying to figure out why and how we have allowed this to get out of control. We as you and me, we haven't stopped it. We haven't raised enough cane with our legislators. How many of y'all have ever complained to our congressman or either one of our 2 U.S. senators? Has anyone out there, I know 3 of us have, but has anyone else out there ever complained? If you've taken the time, it's simple. You send an email or you make a phone call. Have you complained to them as individuals? If there was a move among citizens, if 20% of the North Carolinians, if 20% of all North Carolinians would complain to their district representative, congressman, congresswoman, congress thing, or either one of the 2 senators, if you would do that and don't stop with one little email, I don't like the way things are going in Washington, y'all need to change it.
But why don't you like it? And what don't you
specific,
like?
And if you get together with your neighborhood, don't go out and do petitions unless it's a legitimate, honest to goodness petition, but just express your opinions.
Mike. It's Mike.
Just express your opinions. Tell our elected representatives what you think. You can also do the same thing on the local level. More of you will complain, and I can understand that because you go to county commission meetings, you go to school board meetings, you watch it on the G10, and you do. I know you complain. Some of you call in here to complain. And a lot of you do it on Facebook. But how many of you ever write a letter? Facebook does not count. You can get other people riled up. You're not going to get the congressman riled up.
Facebook doesn't count?
You're not going to get the congressman riled up. You're going to write it off just like I do. Facebook is worthless.
But that's where everybody puts all their medical issues.
It's faceless. You do not know how real it is or is not. Send a letter or send an email to a congressman, your congressman, our congressman, or wherever you live, or to either and to both of the U.S. senators. They need to know how we, the people, actually feel, and it not just at ballot time. And right now, Senator Tillis is running for re-election again. Okay, Mike. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I just wanted to make a comment on the hypocrisy of, actually, it's both sides. It's Republicans
I agree.
and Democrats.
Yep.
The immigration problem could be solved today, very simply, if the government would hand out prison sentences to these people that employ these illegals. They wouldn't employ them anymore, and they wouldn't come because there'd be no prize for them when they get here. And Republicans, they cry and say, I used to be a Republican. I'm independent now. So they cry about immigration, blah, 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 all the time. But they have no problem for the cheap labor. There's a certain Republican in town here that owns a certain chain of restaurants, big chain. He's a well-known Republican donor, and I don't know if he's employing them anymore, but he had no problem employing illegals in his kitchen all over the Southeast. And the reason I know it is because my wife did his payroll, and she would find these stolen identities, basically, because child support be looking for them, but he had hundreds of illegals working for him.
I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to mention names, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And Democrats, like with abortion, okay, what they don't tell their voters, the only reason they're against abortion is because they don't want to feed the baby for 18 years. Because most young girls that are going in there and getting these abortions, what are the chances of them not being on assistance and that child being on assistance until it becomes an adult? Slim to none. So that is the real reason the Democratic Party is against abortion. Okay. So,
well,
I don't get into all the. I can't even stand to watch the news anymore because you watch CNN, they're just going to tell the liberal what they want to hear to piss them off, to keep them watching and get them riled up. Same thing with the right. They're going to tell you everything you want that they know is going to piss you off and keep you watching and get you riled up. It's all about ratings. These politicians don't give a shit about you. And that's the facts.
I appreciate your thoughts and appreciate your opinions, and I can't say that I disagree with them totally, but let's go beyond that just a little bit. Here's the problem with the illegals. You're talking about what I call the enablers, those who want to allow the illegals to come in because they want something from them. They don't want something from them to benefit the country. They don't want to provide them with an opportunity to work because they can't. They want to hire them at cheap rates to do their bidding for them, and this includes people with money that are hiring individuals to work in their homes, take care of their lawns, to do all that menial work, and they can pay them less money than they can pay an American out here to go mow your lawn. I mean, I grew up doing pretty much the same thing, but I was on the receiving end. You think, well, first of all, they didn't have all these professional lawn mowing companies when I was growing up, but for 50 cents, I could go mow your lawn. And out here, the lots where I live are fairly large. They call it country club acres for a reason. I mowed several lawns for 50 cents a lawn. Gasoline cost me 26 cents a gallon. I could get out of a 2-gallon can for 50 cents. I could almost fill it up. And that 2 gallons of gasoline, I can mow a bunch of lawns with it. So I looked at my labor as not being a costly thing. I looked at everything except the 50 cents I paid for gasoline that I can mow 7 or 8 yards with. I said, hey, that's profit.
Yep. Like I said, if they start handing down punishment to these employers, immigration would stop tomorrow.
It would. But they're not going to, they won't even enforce those immigration laws. The guys who hire these people, these very rich guys who will hire these people to go work in their homes, or in their lawns, do the yard work. How about construction jobs? I got some intimate knowledge of those.
I was in competition with illegals.
I understand.
From the time I became an adult, I've been in construction my whole life.
And there are companies that a contractor or general contractor will employ a subcontractor, as we know, for either plumbing or electrical work or HVAC, of course, because very few of a general contractor is going to have a staff on hand on payroll to do all of that work. They don't need them that much, but they will hire them. Sometimes they'll hire a framing crew. Sometimes they'll hire a trim crew separately. And those quite often, because I've watched them, I watched it at a commercial building in Swansboro. I watched it. I knew the general contractor pretty well. I had to go down and take a look and see if this project. And they paid these guys on Friday afternoon in cash. And they were not taking any money out for any of the taxes. Nothing. Unemployment did not happen. They weren't taking out money for unemployment.
How sloppy the work is.
Yeah, quite often it is. Sometimes they were working really good. I will tell you that. These guys were very good.
They're fast. They're fast, but they're slop artists.
I understand.
I've been around it my whole life.
Listen, I watched it. I understand. But that is the problem. They are allowed to do it. They're not disallowed from doing it. All you got to do, the base was allowing illegals to work for contractors, companies that were working aboard Camp Lejeune for the longest time. Finally, they started saying, you can't do that. So they send MPs around.
There was a general out there back in, I want to say around 06, 08.
Yep.
And he said, leave them alone. So,
yep.
Yeah, like I said, if they did something with the employer, there would be you wouldn't have them here. And they're not coming to escape any sort of, violence or anything like that. They're coming here. The dollar is 10 to 1. So they're coming here and doing construction, doing whatever, roofing or whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're making the same as a lawyer or a doctor in Mexico.
Yep.
They send all their money back. They can have a 2,000 square foot house built for about $10,000 down there.
Pretty much.
So that all their American dollars they make, they don't, they eat here and they pay their bare minimum, but it all goes back to wherever they came from.
Yeah, they used to put it in, Western Union and whatever, and then they stopped allowing that. They
can work here for 10, 20 years, and then they go back and live like a king for the rest of their life.
A lot of them were swooping. They're doing the same thing the Marines would do on the weekends. That every couple of weeks they would take off and go down to Mexico and drop off cash. Because it was tough getting it there otherwise. Even the post office got involved in some of the cases.
Not to mention the stolen identities.
Oh God, yes.
That they use.
I ran a house.
I believe that's where the real ID came from. That's why we had to start having a real ID. And back to your guy in California that was going to the VA.
Mm-hmm.
He was only detained for 2 hours. How many lines did he cross? Did he have a real ID on him? We don't know all that stuff.
He had he had a veteran's ID on him too.
Well, can that not be forged?
Well, yeah, but
I'm sure he crossed all these lines.
Here's the thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, go on about your business. Just because you're a veteran.
Here's the thing. I don't know.
Anybody can duplicate anything.
Mike, I don't know a lot of Lance Corporals, sergeants, or whoever going to be able to look at an ID card and say it's forged or whatever, and it's not their job. That's not
what I'm saying.
That's
not
not
why it took
their
2 hours. They
job.
had to, they had to be sure that he wasn't.
Yeah.
2 hours. Come on.
Well,
Not like he was shot.
he also had an appointment. That's why he was headed for the VA to get copies of his paperwork. It's a much deeper.
Well, how many barricades did you say he crossed?
One barricades. It was just walked around some tape.
Okay. Why'd he do that?
Because it was a shortcut, and he was in a hurry to get back to wherever he had the paperwork from the VA for. That was the whole purpose of it.
He knew what was going on in that area.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, 2 hours. He made a mistake. He paid for it. Big deal.
Yeah.
All
right. Mike, thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You too.
All right.
Bye, Mike.
Take care. All right. We got coming up here in about 5 minutes. We got, we're going to add to our environment here.
Yes, we are. We're up in the, we're going classy.
We are going to go classy.
We're going to go classy.
We're going to go classy with
We have Miss Gastonia.
Miss
coming in.
Gastonia.
Catherine Lee.
Catherine Lee. She's going to be running, she's competing in the Miss North Carolina
Miss
pageant,
North
which
Carolina
begins
pageant.
next week.
This weekend. No, you're right. Next weekend. Yes.
But it's a week-long event.
It's a week-long
Yeah.
event,
Okay.
right? Yes.
makes
In
sense.
fact, I posted it already, so anybody wants to go on our page and look at it. It starts June 25th, and the finals are June 28th. So
28th is Saturday night.
yes, and
Okay. I won't be there.
Catherine is a Jacksonville native,
Uh-huh.
Jacksonville High School graduate, daughter of Misty and Ernie Lee.
Mhm.
And she's a beautiful girl,
Mhm.
beautiful. But she's going to be in here with her mom, Misty,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about why Miss Gastonia is
Well,
our
that's
first.
just- yeah,
That's
that's
our
one
first question.
There are a lot of open
Yes.
patches across the state.
How does that work?
I want y'all to
Right.
listen, though, here for a couple of minutes. All right, you ready? It's not a joke. It's hilarious. It's irritating. It is comical, but it's not funny, but it's a status of where we are. And this is some of those Jay Leno days,
Mhm.
going out asking students questions.
What countries make up Great Britain?
Japanese women weigh less and never hit the gym. The secret? A simple 4.
I do like commercials that pop up, don't you?
Mhm.
Which countries make up Great Britain? That's the question.
Okay.
What countries make up Great Britain? You've heard of Great Britain?
Yeah.
If someone said they're going to Great Britain, what language do they speak when they get there?
British?
They speak British. Okay. Have you ever met anyone who speaks British?
No.
Can you think of any word in British?
No.
No, like Mini Cooper.
Oh yeah, Mini Cooper.
That's a British word. We're talking with.
Tyler Quiet.
If you met someone from Amsterdam, what nationality would they be?
I have no idea. Amsterdamian.
Amsterdam.
Oh my!
No, they wear wooden shoes. Who wears wooden shoes?
Cobblers.
Cobblers.
I understand.
So they'd be cobblers. Okay. All right. We're talking with
Lindsay Shanks.
Lindsay, and you're a high school student as well.
Yes, sir.
What is the world's tallest mountain?
It's not Mount Rushmore.
No. Do you ever rest?
Do I what?
Ever rest?
No.
I'm giving you a clue.
Oh my!
I really don't know.
See, I asked you, do you ever rest? And you said,
Oh,
no.
Mount Everest.
Everest. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. We're talking with
Aisha Edvar.
Aisha. That's a pretty name. And you're a high school student?
Yes, sir.
What are people from Denmark called? You meet a bunch of people from Denmark.
I don't know. Denmarkians?
Denmarkians.
Oh my!
Denmarkians.
I can't do any more.
And this is why, like I said, I have a problem in schools with them teaching to a test
Uh-huh.
because that's what produces this nonsense right
Uh-huh.
here.
I'm
Yes.
like shocked, dismayed when I looked at that. And that's an old clip.
It's disturbing.
And Leno used to hit the streets and ask questions like this on a regular basis. And it's like Really?
I can't. That
Really?
God, I can't.
What language do they speak in Great Britain?
Great. I know. I can't.
Britney's?
Yeah, I just.
I don't know. Yeah,
What, and Minnie Cooper. Yeah,
And Minnie
there's a lot.
Cooper.
There's a lot.
I don't
It's
know.
too much, Rayford.
I totally agree. We got a special guest in the studio.
Yes, we do.
So we're adding to our. We're going to look a whole lot more better now. Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Actually, I had to put. I had to take a shower this morning and shave because I heard you were coming in.
That's right.
Oh.
Normally, I don't do that but once a week, but today I've made an exception.
Had to get prepared.
We
You're
have Miss
on.
Gastonia, Catherine
we-
Lee. She's the one with the tiara. She's the one with the crown.
Yes, the shiny hat.
Can I wear it later?
Of course.
Okay.
I'd love
We
for you
have
to.
her mother, Misty Lee,
Hello, Misty.
who we all
Hey,
know
how are
Misty.
you?
We know Misty. Misty's an esteemed journalist as well.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Thank
So-
you. How
She
are
used
you
to
all
be
doing?
reporter for the Daily News
Uh-huh.
when she first came
Thank
to Onslow
you.
County. Yes.
That's my dog down there, not me.
Oh.
Okay. Just to make it perfectly clear.
Well, I love her. She looks like our dog Bailey.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, get down.
Oh my goodness.
she can chill
Wow.
with me.
You.
He knows a princess when he sees one.
What are you doing?
Oh my gosh. My dog is going to get jealous now.
Oh, I'm sure.
think
You
I
can
might
put
have
it
just
down.
hung
You want to send him
Oh,
away?
she's fine.
He will
Yeah.
pasture. He will pasture you now that you rub him. You know.
Oh, he's not
Now
going
you
to
get. Now you can't. Now he knows what's coming.
Come here, sir.
Oh,
I got it.
oh my goodness.
All right. Yeah, he's a his name
Yeah.
is Shockwave.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, Shockwave.
That is so cute.
Yeah. A little dynamite, whatever. But I named him because I may have a gun by that name that's produced by a company called Mossberg. And
Oh,
this one called the Shockwave.
oh my gosh, funny.
And I had that when we got the dog, so I said, whatever. I got the dog that I had. I named another dog Scuba Dude because I've been diving forever.
Oh my gosh, how
And
cute.
then I named my cat Evan Rude.
Where did that come from?
2 outboard motors that I got.
I love the
Notice the thing?
creativity. Yes.
Why not do something? And
We're
then-
going to nickname this show Beauty and the Beast. Look at the look I got.
take care of that. Look like this thing over here called.
He's cutting you off.
Yeah, I constantly.
We
but-
have right ways of dealing with you.
Yes, he does. He does. He shuts me down quite often. So, Catherine, tell us about you. I know you're a native of Jacksonville.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You graduated from Jacksonville High School.
I did.
Correct.
Yes.
She lives right close to it. She's actually my neighbor, a few houses down.
Uh-huh.
But
Yep.
yeah, drives a pretty Mustang. That Mustang yours?
Oh, I wish, but it would be hot pink if it were mine. So it's not. It's my dad's. But
I just thought it was yours.
He lets you drive his Mustang.
well, not often. I have driven it a few times, but really only when my car is, getting it with its oil changed or something. So not normally. No.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, he loves his car.
So, when you graduated from Jacksonville High School, where did you go after that?
So I'm currently at North Carolina State University in Raleigh.
Go State.
Yes,
Yeah.
go Pack. And I am studying education, and I'm a rising
Nice.
senior. So I've been there a little bit, but
Senior?
yes,
Holy moly, has it been that long
it has.
since you graduated?
I feel like I blinked, and now my little brother has graduated. So I cannot believe it. I feel like I was just in his shoes walking into that gym
Really?
to get graduated. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
So,
Is Turlington Dorm still on the campus?
I'm not sure.
Probably not. It was built in the 30s.
I feel like no, because I would have.
torn down.
Yes, it probably is gone, and probably I hope so, because I'm sure nobody wants to stay in that now.
They have fancy dorms now.
Oh yeah. Well,
Sorta.
they've got apartments now, not dorms.
Right.
They have a dorm, one shower on the entire floor.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's people living.
no.
Well, there were multiple people using it at the same time, and
Right.
it was all segregated. You couldn't have women there.
Right.
Couldn't even have a TV in your room.
Really?
Oh,
That was a
yeah.
rule?
You had a rule. There was a TV downstairs in the TV room.
Wow,
my
you can
goodness.
definitely have a TV now. That's like a
Yeah.
necessity.
They have a microwave too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could have microwave. No,
Yeah,
we
the
couldn't even
microwave,
have
you
no
can
hot
have a
plates. They didn't have
microwave.
microwaves then, but no hot plates were allowed. Yeah,
Wow.
right. We might burn the place down, you know?
Wow.
I know you
There's a-
can't
there's a
like burn
brick wall.
candles in there either. Can you burn candles now?
You still cannot burn
Yeah.
candles, so you better hope you have an essential oils diffuser because
Right, right.
you know open flame. But
My daughter goes to Appalachian, and I know there was a long list of what you cannot do.
Yeah.
You know, and candles was one of them. I was like, wow.
I know, and you want a candle to unwind at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and
be
yeah,
nice.
you can't have it.
Very nice.
I've had radios pretty much all my life, not the little broadcast radios that you listen to,
Right.
but the things that are talk on,
Uh-huh.
not CBs, but ham radio.
Uh-huh.
Right? So when I was up there, I wanted to take my radio. Oh, you can't have a radio like that up there. What? Really?
Oh,
This is an engineering school.
right.
They had a ham station on campus we could go
Mhm.
to,
Hmm.
but I wanted one in the room.
Right. That's so,
my-
interesting.
So my dad, being the business he was in, he built a box that I could use from an end table in beside the rack, the bed, the bunk. Right. It had a hidden entry. You pull it up, and my radio was in there with headphones like this.
Oh, I love
Nobody
it.
knew. The antenna. I got some. Okay, it's got this old red building, right? Brick, old brick.
Yeah.
I went to a motor rewinding store. I got some motor rewinding wire that looks the same color as that brick. And we ran it down in the middle of the night from my end all the way down to a room on the other end. And then attached it. We were on the top floor, third floor. So we attached it on both ends, and that's what we hooked it up with.
Oh my gosh.
It was a blast. And
You were an engineer.
I talked to people all over the place, and they never caught me.
I love it. I love the dedication.
Yeah. We do things like that. We're kind of crazy.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, whatever works.
Okay, Gastonia,
Yes.
Yes,
North Carolina State, unless they moved it, is still in Raleigh.
it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Gastonia is not.
No, it is near Charlotte, so
Yeah,
it's a
that's
little bit of a drive.
long ways.
It is. Yes, so I actually got my start in Onzo County with pageants. So
Okay.
I competed for Miss Onzo County in 2020. It was my first prelim. And-
I didn't even know they still had this in Oslo County.
I
Somebody's not
didn't either.
publicizing it.
Yeah, I know. Well, they do still have it. And so I won that. And then after that, I went to Miss Princess of Eastern Carolina and then Miss Princess of North Carolina. And then I jumped to a new system, which is what I'm now, the Miss America system.
Yep.
And now I'm Miss Gastonia. But actually, there are no Miss America prelims this far east. And so I had to travel outside
Really?
of Onzo County. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I wish we would get
There are a
some.
lot of places that are open pageants, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's a lot of folks come from all sorts of places.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And pageants are a very southern
yeah.
thing.
Right.
And so
So
I'm
like Friday night
surprised.
football.
Right.
Don't mess with it in the South.
Right. So it's really surprising that we don't have, one even in Wilmington or Topsail. So
Which is, it used to be, I mean, that was a big thing.
right.
A friend of mine in the 70s, I think it was 80s, was Miss
Yeah, I remember
Wilmington.
when the patches were pretty
Yes.
popular
And,
around
Lynn
here. That was a
Wilson.
long time ago.
And then I went to, I told her when she go into the state, I said, go ahead. I said, but here's what I was busy. So I said, if you win the state,
Hmm.
I'll go to Atlantic City. Well, I had to go to Atlantic City because she became Miss North Carolina.
Oh my
in
gosh.
Williford. So
Yes.
Oh my
How
goodness.
cool.
I had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
So
Gosh.
you became Miss Gastonia,
Yes.
which put you in the system to run for Miss North Carolina and
Mhm.
then Miss America, right?
Yes. So if you
Okay.
win your state titles, if I win Miss North Carolina, I'll compete in Miss America
Headed
in
for Atlantic
September.
City.
Well, it's in Orlando
Oh,
now.
but that's why they moved it there.
Yes.
I liked Atlantic City
I
for
know
that
where
reason.
mine will be. It should be in
Right.
Orlando too.
I know, we'll be packing up and heading
Yeah.
our way.
Yes, we will. Wow.
Yes, so it's a big deal if you win. I mean, you
Oh,
get
it's
to go
huge.
represent on this huge stage, and it's so cool to represent your state. So
Yeah. Well, we'll be pulling for you.
thank
Guarantee
you.
you that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do the official. What's your platform? You got to have one, right?
Yes, my
'Cause you're going to be asked.
I sure am. Yeah, I've been preparing. My community service initiative is called Threads of Hope, and it ensures that no student has to learn on an empty stomach. So I fight for food insecurity, and I've actually spent a lot of time at the North Carolina legislature in Raleigh and speaking with representatives about bills that are currently on the table regarding food insecurity. And I've visited food banks in Gastonia and Mount Holly, which is right there near Gastonia, and Onslow County. I've worked alongside CHU, which is
Great. We know that.
Yes, you know CHU, with Miss Shelley Kewig, and that's kind of where I got my start with food insecurity. I started in high school at working with her and packing bags and packing little Ziploc bags of rice to make sure that students could have some food to take home on the weekends. And after that, I just was hooked. I really cared about the initiative, and I wanted to continue making a difference in any way that I could. So that's where Threads of Hope was born. So, but yeah, so I really loved working with different agencies and getting to kind of even just hear more about what issues we have in North Carolina regarding food insecurity and different ways that we can help it. So.
Wow.
As a miss
Nice.
anything, you are a role model. People are going to be looking up to you, right? What do you tell those little kids who are coming along?
Well, I tell them to dream big. I mean, when I was a little girl, I for sure didn't know that I would be sitting here right now about to go to Miss North Carolina in 3 days.
Wow.
So I would tell them to, if you can dream it, you can do it. You know, there's nothing too big. So if you want to go on that stage, you can do that, and nothing is far out of reach. You are welcome at the table as well.
What's your talent?
My talent is a lyrical dance. I'm actually dancing.
Oh, I love lyric.
Yes, that's my favorite. Yes, it's got a lot of ballet elements to it, so I'm excited about that. My dance is to the song Can't Help Falling in Love, which is an ultra classic. I love Elvis, but I didn't think I should dance to Jailhouse Rock, so I went with a slower song. And my dance is actually kind of a surprise to my grandparents, but it's dedicated to them. So, and their love story. And they actually just celebrated their 60th anniversary at the place that they had their very first date. So after that, I wanted to dance to something that represented their love story. So I'm excited to perform that.
Let's talk about dance. Now, where did you take your dance instruction growing up?
So I danced competitively for 11 years. I started in kindergarten at Step Ahead with Miss Amanda Oakley Hort, and I started just as a ballerina. And I started because I was in physical therapy and I was a toe walker. And so I needed some way to kind of help, me walk flat-footed. And so they recommended, why don't you try ballet? Turns out it's really helpful to be a toe walker because you have really pointed feet. So I got lots of judges awards for my pretty ballerina feet. So it turned out to be a good thing.
Well, there you go.
Yes, so I started there in kindergarten, and 1 year later I joined the competitive dance team. So in first grade I started doing jazz, and I loved hip hop. That was my favorite, and it remains my favorite. Well, that and lyrical, of course. And then I headed to Riverwalk Youth Ballet, and so I was there for a couple years, and then I started pageants. So,
you mentioned one thing that I've got to go back to, right?
Right.
When is Sam Hill is a toe walker? I never heard of that.
Essentially,
it's great for ballet points.
I know toe dancing.
It's good for
my
points.
sister was involved in all that stuff, and now my wife too. But a couple of years ago. But toe walking, not as a dance thing,
right?
Just walking on your toes.
It's pretty much what it sounds like. I just walked on the tip of my toes instead of walking, with the balls of my feet and flat-footed.
Right.
And so
Don't wear your toes out.
Yeah, I think I thought I was wearing heels all the time or something, but I was preparing for pageants all back then.
And that was
wanted to be
about
taller.
2, at the age of 2. Like she was
She just
doing
wanted to be taller.
maybe.
Something.
I thought it was kind of cute,
God.
but some of my mom, my aunts are like, she's walking on her toes. And I was like, yeah, I thought it was cute.
Right.
No, they don't. Doctors don't like that. They don't want you to be a toe walker.
I think part of it was the physical therapist said that my Achilles tendons are very tight. And so I think that contributed because it was actually difficult for me to walk flat-footed because I was so tight. And so thankfully dance helped with that too, with stretching. I'm still very tight and I probably needed more than what I got, but I'm thankful that I didn't do surgery or anything because that was an option, but I'm glad dance just helped. Yeah.
Ooh.
I know.
Excellent.
Don't like people cutting on me.
I know. I'll avoid that as much as possible. So
Yes.
You're a senior?
I am.
So after this event,
Where am I headed?
Yeah.
I would love to go to the Disney College program at Disney World.
Wow.
And I would love to intern there and just get the experience. And I mean, what a cool thing to do after college before I jump right into teaching. So I'm planning to go to Orlando and work there. And ideally, I would love to be a Disney princess. That is on my bucket list. So maybe that'll work out. Or even a performer in the parades and use my dance that way. So I would love to do that. And after that, I plan to be in education. So lots of plans.
Plans on where you might settle down as an educator?
Well, I love Raleigh, so maybe Raleigh, but I
Too many politicians.
definitely a hub for that.
Traffic.
It is a lot of traffic, 5 o'clock. But I love Raleigh. I've loved my years there. But I do have a scholarship where I come back to Eastern North Carolina. So at least for a little bit, I'll be in Eastern North Carolina. So maybe Onza County or Wilmington or somewhere in one of, a surrounding area. And I'm going to teach in a school local. So I'm going to try to do both.
Now, what's your field in education? What are you come back and you begin teaching? Do you have a specific field?
I'm elementary, so I work with the littles, and I've actually done a lot of field experience these past 2 years at NC State. I've been at several different elementary schools in Raleigh, and I've loved my time there. I feel like I've really gotten so much experience from just watching the teachers that have been my mentors and getting to see what works, what doesn't work. I was first with first graders, who I loved. Those are my kids. But after that, I was with fourth grade, and that is a different, ball game. But I loved both age groups, but I think I am going to stick with first graders.
Getting back to the pageant, I know that next week starts your week long, and then next Saturday night is the final.
Yes.
Now, this is Miss North Carolina will be picked by a panel of judges.
It will.
It's not like we all can call in and vote for our favorite person.
Do we have their names yet?
I do not have their names. They release that once you arrive. So
slip us the names later. We'll do an investigation.
We'll get rid of the bad ones.
Yeah. We'll make a few phone calls anonymously, of course.
I know a DA.
Right?
Yeah, we might be able to get out with a lesser sentence knowing the DA. I don't know.
Whoa, I was talking that. I know a DA that could help us out.
But yes, unfortunately, it's not, open to the public to vote.
Right.
It's just directly a group of judges who judge you, and you start with an interview, and that is 30% of your score. It's a 10-minute interview. You walk in and you give a little 30-second spiel about what your CSI is. So essentially what I just told you guys.
Right.
And then they'll ask me 9.5 minutes of questions and try to figure out, should I be the next Miss North Carolina? And then after that, I will perform talent, I'll perform evening gown, and then I will perform fitness, and I'll answer a few onstage questions.
They don't do the swimsuit anymore, do they?
They do not. They replaced that with Miss America Fit, and it's with Rebel Red. It's a very big part of their brand. So now we do fitness. It is. I love it. Yeah.
That is. It's Friday. We wear red on Friday.
Right.
And we have a cardinal over here. And most mornings we'll have one sitting on the fence out there that flies away. We have one or two in our yard here.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, yeah. We're all Cardinal High School graduates.
Oh, are you?
Friend and I. And
A couple of years before you
his
did.
wife,
Yeah.
Robbie. So we're all graduates of Jacksonville also. So we have that in common too.
Oh my gosh.
Plus, my name is Catherine, also with a C.
I love it. I did not know.
Yes.
Do you go by Catherine or like
No,
Kath?
that's my middle name.
Gotcha.
In fact, my real name, I go by Lee as a nickname. So I go by Lee Catherine, and you're Catherine Lee.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I
Is
know.
it Lee or
Lee.
Oh my gosh.
She's messing
We're
up.
meant to be.
Every time she tried this last night when she
We
called
cousins.
We are.
You messed me up last night when you called about all of this.
That's right, I
Catherine
said-
Lee, Catherine.
I said, I'm Lee Catherine. She's Catherine Lee.
And then she got confused when I said, like Kathy Lee.
And I said,
Oh.
definitely
and
not.
she
Oh.
completely lost it. She didn't know what I was talking about.
No, I didn't lose it. I was like, I would skipped right over there. Who wants to talk about Kathy Lee?
Well,
We're
funny
talking
enough,
about Catherine Lee.
a lot of people think my full name is Catherine Lee hyphenated. That's my first name. So there's been many times I've been called Catherine Lee as one name, and I don't mind. But it's funny because my middle name actually is hyphenated. So that would be a mouthful if I was Catherine Lee and Grace.
Really careful when you get your passport and you check in the airplanes.
Oh,
Because it doesn't take but a little bit to
One
they bounce
hyphen
you.
to mess you up.
True.
delay your flight.
I
Yes.
did that with my wife. They tried to keep us in St. Thomas. I said, okay.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I'll stay.
And that was on the way out. How we got in, I have no clue. But
Yeah.
you know,
Oh gosh. Yeah, that could mess you up. Yeah.
So why the pageants? What brought you into being a part of a pageant? What made you want to do this?
Well, in 8th grade, my teacher, Miss McCullough, she was my English 101 teacher. She had told me about pageants. And before that, I really didn't know much about them. But she had talked to me one day about it and said, you should really consider starting or doing a pageant. And it's a really great way to earn money for college, which was, something I really wanted to do.
Right.
Money is good for college. And so it was a few years after that, I was kind of ready to start focusing on high school a little more and be able to actually go to football games and have a weekend and not just dance all the time. Although I loved it, it just was time to be able to do more. And so after that, I thought back and thought, this is my year. I'm going to do Miss Onslow County. So I did Miss Onslow County and I won. And so after that, it kind of was the start and I just continued. But the main thing I loved about it was such a great way to expand your reach because you can do service and you can do things to help your community without the crowd, but the crowd opens doors and it helps you expand your reach and reach more people. And so I really loved that aspect of it, that I could continue what I was already doing in high school with community service and just do it on a broader scale.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
well, it's Miss North Carolina. You'll also be invited to the North Carolina Azalea Festival next April.
Yes.
They almost always show up.
Yes.
And
I was
there
excited for that.
a long time, and I was the photographer for the festival for
Oh,
20 years, I guess.
yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
Now you have to promise us that when you become Miss North Carolina, you do come back
Oh,
and
absolutely.
sit with us.
I would love to.
We want to hear about your experience.
Yes, I will share everything. I would love to.
And you may as well bring your dancing shoes because you do know that we will ask you.
I will have to. Yes, I'll bring my ballet shoes.
I was on stage one time dancing.
Oh, were you?
One time, yeah.
What was it for?
don't want to know.
Was it Dancing
with the
Stars?
It was.
I figure.
My partner was a beautiful blonde. She was an instructor
Uh-huh.
and she's a professional belly dancer.
Oh, did you do belly dancing on
Good,
stage?
good Bollywood routine.
Oh my
It
gosh.
didn't work.
Did you?
It was awful. But it was for a cause.
Right. Oh yeah.
And it was the first year too.
Oh.
So
Oh gosh. So what year was that?
2012. I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
We should do it again. It's time
No.
for a second time.
Not my list.
Charlie.
Well, I bet my dad's listening, and he competed in
I know.
Dancing Stars.
I knew.
Yeah, we joke that he actually did. He got 10 out of 10, but the effort was there. So,
It was a thought and the desire.
yes, it takes a lot of confidence to get up there.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I either thought it or suggested to him that he just may want to talk to the Superior Court judges and the District Court judges and said that they would add a little fine that could be used as a contribution, surcharge.
Right.
Now, where is the pageant being held this year?
It is being held in High Point. So it's a little ways from Jacksonville. It used to be in Raleigh, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you probably remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, but now it has moved to High Point, and we have lots of great sponsors in High Point, including Stock and Grain and Congdon Yards. And Congdon Yards is actually where I will do my interview on Tuesday. So I'll be kind of all over High Point, and then the actual competition is at High Point Theater. So yeah, it's actually a really great place for the pageant to be held. There's the community loves having us come, and they're very supportive, and we have great sponsors. So yeah, it's a good place to be.
Don't have nearly as many politicians there either.
No.
My next,
Not
my
quite
next
as a hub.
question is for Misty. Are you packing up and going for the week?
Oh, I am.
Oh, I know she is.
I am so packing up
Yes.
and going.
I'm-
Yes.
Oh,
So much
okay.
excitement.
She said she was packing. I got one. You're going to win one way or the other, right?
Right?
So much to pack up, actually, right, Catherine?
Yes, we have stuff strung. We've been trying to slowly pack for, I feel like, weeks to make sure that we're not struggling tomorrow and today. But yeah, we're ready to just put it in the car and head there because it is stressful to make sure you have every dress, every pair of shoes, every pair of earrings.
And
We've made
backups.
Yes,
Yes.
and backups. Yeah, and the clear bins to pack in
Right.
and backups because you can't risk your shoe breaking.
Mhm.
So it has been a lot, but we're excited. I joke that she's my momager, so she does.
Momager.
Yes.
I
I've
like
heard that one before.
Yeah.
She's a full-time job right alongside me. She does a lot.
Now, what do you say to the naysayers out there? Because there's going to have to be that question. You know that. What do you say to the naysayers? This is just one of those things that you're taking advantage of women.
Well, it is absolutely that is so far from true. Pageants are such a way to, like I said, get involved with the community and meet so many people and network. I just alone in this past, since February, since winning this title, I have met so many great people. And they say, the people make the place, but in this case, the people make the pageant system. Absolutely. And I have just loved everything, being a part of this and everything that it involves. And yeah, pageants are more than what's on the surface. It is not just a beauty pageant.
Right.
It is about being dedicated and being a leader and being able to speak about it and represent yourself in a way that represents your community.
I forgot what the percentages are, but at one time the interview was a big chunk.
Yes, it is 30%.
30%. Okay.
Yes, so it is a big chunk.
And the talent is huge.
Yes. Yep. I think it's about
Swimsuit was like next to nothing. Honestly, that was for audience appeal, right?
Right.
That's
Well, let me ask you
Seriously.
this about that.
Yeah.
You guys have to do like philanthropy and causes. Are you guys scored on that as well? Like what kind of involvement you have?
You're not directly scored. It's not
Okay.
written on the judge's
Right.
sheet that 30% counts for your community
Right,
service
right.
involvement. But it absolutely is a part of it because
Okay.
you have to be able to speak about it in your
Right.
interview and
That's the
on
interview.
stage.
Yeah.
And you get asked a lot about your community service. So if you can't talk about what you've done, you're probably not going to get it.
You better be
because-
real too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It better be something you've actually done because you're going to get a lot of nitty gritty questions. So you want to be able to answer those details.
But that's where like the contacts come in as well, like doing things, and especially depending on what cause or philanthropy work you've done, that can generate into, and that's where, like you said, working with the public comes in because
Yes.
that's where you can call. Let's say your causes, I don't know, animal services.
Mhm.
That brings a lot of highlight a lot of times to causes that may not always have enough public attention because sometimes people
Right.
go for the big name gotcha things,
Right.
and a lot of the other really important things kind of get shoved aside. So good for you. I
Yeah.
think it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely have to build a resume.
Mhm.
When you win that prelim title, you have to hit the ground running and get ready for
Mhm.
Miss North Carolina. And hopefully you've already done a lot. And, your community service initiative is something that's already a part of you and you're just continuing it with the crown. You're not starting it. And thankfully that was my case. And it was something that I had started building a long time ago. And so I had a lot to kind of go off of and a lot of connections already built that I could continue and expand my reach that way.
What did you say? What grade level? You want to be a teacher, correct?
Yes.
What grade level?
First grade.
Okay.
Ideally. Yes. I love the littles. I love that age group. And I know people say that, they're very needy at that age, but I love that. I love helping them. So
I think you're going to do very well. She has that personality just
Oh,
for
yeah.
that.
They're
She's
going
so
to
excited.
adore her.
Oh, yeah.
You're going
Have a
to
lot
do
of
very
fun with her.
well. My daughter's a teacher. You're going to do very well.
thank you.
You have that. Not
Just-
everybody has it. She
Yeah,
has
just
it.
listening
Yeah.
to her, I feel like I've known her.
Yeah.
Well, she's grown
Also
up.
your neighbor. So
Yeah.
you
Wow.
have known them. So, but yeah, you're going to do well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love being in the classroom. I love hearing the stories from the kids when they come in the morning. That is their favorite time to talk is, first thing in the morning, they've had their breakfast and they want to tell you about their weekend or they want to tell you about the soccer game they played the night before. I love hearing about it. And I love the hugs. Once you get a little older,
Yeah.
they want to stay a little bit away from you,
Little ones.
Yeah, you stay a little more at the front of the classroom rather than, bending down and helping them and even helping them tie their shoes. That kind of goes away. And I enjoy all that. So it's fun.
You're going to be the teacher that the parents try to get their kids into that classroom. Because there's
I
always
believe-
one teacher. They're like the parents like call them up. Hey,
I
try to
can
get my
We
kid
want
in there.
Miss Lee.
That's going to be
We
you.
want-
I hope
Yeah.
so.
Oh, it will be.
That's the
I can
goal.
tell. It's going to be. Yeah.
I'm going to be the best teacher I can be. So that's the goal.
That's good. Excellent. Okay. Obviously, I was sneaking pictures here.
You're right.
Not sneaking real hard, but it's not real sneaky. We can use that on our Facebook page,
Oh, absolutely.
yes. Yeah.
including the
Please.
ones where you.
We're going to be rude.
Yeah, try to make sure they're good pictures, but
Is the pageant any of it televised Saturday that we can watch live?
So it is not on television like it
No.
used to be. Unfortunately, I wish it
Right.
was, but it is live streamed. So there'll be a link, and I'm going to post it so you can check my social medias,
I
and
will
you can
share
watch
that
it
with
online.
Everybody, right?
Yes,
Right.
please watch. Yeah, I'd love it.
Oh, we just had a listener say, "This girl is unique."
Oh,
She's
thank you.
She
Yeah.
is.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, I've interviewed over the
Very
decades in
genuine.
television and
Yeah.
other things. So many
Mhm.
young ladies who were in pageants. Actually photographed several who were visiting the Azalea Festival.
Yeah.
And they got married later on. And I actually shot several weddings of some of the
Oh,
girls
Wow.
who were there.
Well, clearly they loved you. They wanted you back.
It was a lot of fun. You know, because I used to do wedding photography too, a lot of it.
Right.
Over 400.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
gosh.
goodness.
Definitely be watching it.
I did
Now,
several brides a couple times each.
Yeah.
They're like me, but it doesn't do the husbands. So let's go around.
now,
Anyway.
prior to the finals on Saturday night, will they by then already have it
Like narrowed down.
sliced down, narrowed
Yeah.
down to a certain few?
So by then they'll have calculated the scores each night. So they'll kind of know, who's going to be making the top. And then on Saturday, right after we do opening number, they'll call the top 11. So then you'll know immediately the top 11, and then pretty soon after that you'll know the top 5 and then the winner. So
Now, when they do the top 11, do they have the seats reserved closer up for the parents of these like they used to?
I don't think so. I wish.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you're
Yeah.
going to freak
So you don't-
Misty out because if she gets third row, she's going to be thinking, "Oh my gosh."
You want to be right up on the stage.
And the Miss America pageant, they would have them so that parents would come in. And nobody would know until the girls would come out. And then the girls would say, "Oh, Mom was there. Oh God, I wonder what I am."
That's interesting. Yeah, I do
goodness.
not think they do that anymore. I do know that
Probably
the front seat, the very front seats, are reserved for the scholarship donors because that's a big part of it. And so
Sure.
if you were a
Okay.
benefactor, you get to sit right up there and see
You
right
pay
up
big
close.
bucks, you get a good seat.
Yes, pretty
There
much.
you go.
Yes, and we appreciate those
Pretty
donors because they give scholarships. So y'all can sit up front all you want.
You can watch it on TV again and again and again.
Yes.
They record it.
Okay. So I'll be looking for that link, and
Yes.
and Misty, you can send it to me.
I
you
will.
know,
Thank you.
and we'll be posting that, and we'll be. We're in your corner. We're going to
Thank
be
you.
cheering
Oh my
you
goodness.
on.
I appreciate you.
You have
Thank
Misty's
you.
email address, right?
Yes, I
Thank
do.
you.
Okay, good.
You
Yes, I
should tell
have
me
it all.
about People's Choice because that is a way to support.
Yes,
Oh,
let me do a
okay.
little plug
Oh,
here.
really?
I will be
Okay.
posting this soon. It's called People's Choice, and your friends and family and sponsors and donors can donate on my link. And whoever gets raises the most money for People's Choice, which all goes to the scholarship fund, you are guaranteed a spot in the top 11. So that's what that 11th spot comes from. So you have the top 10, and then that one extra spot is whoever raises the most. So please find my link out there and donate to my People's Choice.
We will publish.
Got
it
it.
Thank
for
you. I would
We'll put
appreciate
it
that
out
so
there.
much.
We'll talk about that all
We'll
week
make a
too.
donation, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All the support is
Definitely.
so I'm so grateful for all of it. And I want to thank my sponsors, Dr. Williams of Family Dental, North Carolina. I am so appreciative of his donation. It takes a village to get, to this point, and it takes money. So I am so appreciative of everyone who's donated. And Smile Makers of Jacksonville and Sanders Ford of Jacksonville.
Really?
And yes,
Good.
yeah, they're so supportive. And Jane Nicholson, Miss Jean, and Miss Valerie, they have been so supportive and so helpful. Of course, it takes lots of outfits, and they have hooked me up. So everyone go check out Jane Nicholson if you need any dress. She's got the best.
Do you ever wear an outfit more than once?
I try not to.
I don't
Yeah,
think
but
so.
people
Yeah.
hone in on that. Like they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
get known as wearing the same dress over again. Yeah.
That's the biggest part of it is
Yeah.
watching the outfits.
Yeah.
I know, I love it. Well, even in high school, even before pageants, I was big on fashion and style, and I do not want to rewear an outfit.
Yeah.
So even if I rewear the same pants, I ain't wearing the same shirt. So I always try to switch it up. So I try to do that in pageants too.
You space it out.
Space it out.
Catherine, what is PONC?
PNC is Princess of North Carolina. It is a different system.
Okay.
Yes. So that is when I was Miss Princess of North Carolina. That was that system.
Okay, because
Yes.
you got some congratulations from PONC.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Nice.
Renee Honeycutt.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Miss Renee.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's watching.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Miss Renee. Yeah. I didn't know what PONC. I'm like,
I was just going to say people of North Carolina, but I was
Yes.
Close.
I got
We're all
three out of four, right?
Yeah. We made such nice friends with Princess of North Carolina.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
a great
That's good.
opportunity.
Yes.
That's good. Excellent.
Yeah.
It was a great stepping stone. I loved everyone I met, and I loved serving as Miss Princess of Eastern North Carolina and then Miss Princess of North Carolina. You know, I love everything as a stepping stone, and I'm so glad that I got to have that experience with all those great people. I love Miss Renee.
What age was your very first title? What age?
It was 2020, so what was I, 17? I think I was about
Yes.
17.
Yes.
Yeah, so really not that long ago because I'm 21 now. Yeah.
Sort of late coming to it in a way.
Yeah, because some people start very
Four.
young. Yes, some people
24,
do,
yeah.
like toddlers and tiaras. Some people
Yes.
start that age.
Yeah.
And yeah, I chose dance, which ended up working out because I could work on a talent before I moved into pageants. And it helped too because I had time to work on public speaking skills and work with, community service and do things that all help you for pageants, and everything adds up to help you. So I'm glad that I did not start as young as some people do because it gave me an opportunity to make sure my skills were solid before I jumped into the pageant world.
Well, I think
Nice.
it kept you from being fake. Because, sometimes you can spot what I call a fake
Yeah,
contestant.
there's people commenting right
Yeah, I
now
mean,
that they
if
feel
you
like
can-
you're very humble.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
thank
that's
you.
a good thing.
Genuine.
Yeah.
It's going to be the comments.
Yeah.
I know. I hope the judges will see that.
Mhm.
As North Carolina, I feel like I carry myself in a way that shows that, and I truly am so grateful for this experience. It's, people say there's a difference between wanting to be served and wanting to serve, and I definitely want to serve, and there is a difference, and you can tell. So I'm so glad that comes across because I am very grateful for this experience.
Excellent. Good. You'll do well.
Thank
Well,
you.
you'll do well.
I really hope I'm coming back here to report
Oh,
that I
I
am
am
Miss North
too.
Carolina. That would be
So
so great.
If they
Well,
give
we're
you
gonna
any, if
push
they
it,
give you
yeah.
any grief, let me know.
Yes.
We want to bring it back to Onslow, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Bring her home.
Yes.
That's right.
Here at Onslow County, we need to help support.
Yes, my church family at Bethlehem Baptist, they have been so supportive. They have been hyping me up on Facebook and social media, and I have loved seeing their posts. And I love the village that I have here in Onslow County, and even in Raleigh, I have lots of friends and my roommates, and they are so excited. They're coming to the pageant, and it takes that. You need that support,
Right.
and I
Right.
hope I get to bring it home to Onslow County. That would be so cool and such a
got a
memory.
Yes.
We've got a week to get this campaign,
Yep.
get this support.
Yes.
And
Click
after
on
you
this
spend a
link.
few years in the first grade,
That's
after you finally graduate from the first grade, are you maybe thinking about going back to school, maybe to a law degree?
Well, I actually considered. I do have an interest in law,
Mhm.
and which makes sense because of my
I
dad.
would think so.
Right, I know, probably just genes at this point, but I do have an interest in being at the NC legislature has really made me even more interested in law and the government side of things. So I would very much be interested in going to law school.
She's one that could have passed these tests that Jay Leno was the questions.
Oh, for
She would have
sure.
been able to answer these.
She's about to be teaching some of that
As you
stuff.
were walking in, we were doing the Jay Leno walking and asking students questions.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
It was awful. What language do they speak in Great Britain?
What language they speak? What was it she finally answered?
She finally said Great Britain language.
They speak Great Britain.
Oh, it was bad.
So is this, you ask, like, is it kind
Pick
of
up
like
random young adults.
Gotcha. Kind of like, are you smarter than a fifth grader?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Walking in the street random. The
Yeah.
other question was, what do you call people from Denmark?
Yeah. Denmarkians.
It was so bad.
Oh my gosh.
What did he say? Who wears wooden shoes?
Yeah.
And-
Cobblers.
No, he said toddlers.
Oh, did he say
He
toddler?
said
I thought he said
toddler.
cobbler.
No, he said toddlers.
What
Either
did a
one.
toddler wear?
I can't. It's so sad.
I see videos like that on social
It
media
is
of
cringy.
asking people on the streets random
Yes.
questions that are elementary school questions, and some people do not know them.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Yes, and the teacher in me
Scary.
is concerned.
Yes.
Fix that in school if you would, please.
So, I will. I'll have them
So,
up on their history.
My last question is, how are you dealing with all of this, Misty?
Oh my goodness, I'm in it, right?
Yeah, it's a team
I'm-
effort.
Yes, I'm cheering her on and strategizing with her and
Helping you
scheduling
prep.
her, and yes, it's it's kind of
Chaperoning her.
I'm definitely a
Momager
chaperone
is
for
what you call
sure.
it.
Yes, she's my
Momager.
modger.
Yes.
Yes.
It's been so cool though. because really wherever she is, I am. First of all, I need to be there to kind of help document it. But like Sunday and Monday, we were in Gastonia, and so we went to several different places, but we went to a kind of like a shelter, a food bank type place. And the reporter in me loved talking with them and getting the story. It's just such a great story. And I loved, just hearing all about that and the people who were there. They're just so interesting. And of course I'm thinking, this is the best story. Somebody needs to write this story.
And
then yes, it needs to be me. And then a day or two before,
freelancers out there, that.
I've got to get hooked in with that. Help me out, okay? Because the whole media landscape has changed.
Oh God.
So that's a whole story, right? And then 2 days ago, we were in Raleigh at the legislature. And so we're back in the halls and, where things are happening. And, that you don't normally have access to. And that was so interesting, getting to do that. And they let her walk on the red carpet, which is, very unusual. You don't get to do that.
Which they said they did not even let George Bush walk on the red stairs whenever he
Yes.
visited years ago. So I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I get that?
Yes.
What an honor.
Right. So I said, Catherine, take this in because this is not everybody gets this. This is like a moment. This is some history here.
Yes.
And then another moment that she had a chance to sort of interact with is we were in the hallway and there was a Medal of Honor winner's family was there. And we just rubbed shoulders with them, and we all kind of turned around, we said hello, and we had a chance to talk to them about, because this was a long time coming, this medal that they were receiving on behalf of their dad. They were from Morehead City.
Okay.
It was a brother and sister, and then the son, his son was there. So there were three of them. And the son he turned 1 the day after the incident happened where his dad was killed. So it was just interesting to hear that whole story of, what had happened to them. But they were there to receive that Medal of Honor on behalf of, or not receive it, but to be recognized for it. So things like that she's had brushes with has really been interesting for her and me.
And like she said, the reporter in her loved going to the shelter. Yeah.
I guarantee you're going to have a documented big old book or 7.
Right, we need one.
That's right.
Well, those are our favorite appearances, is going and just talking to people. We love hearing the different stories and going to organizations and hearing the mission behind what they're doing and how they're helping the community. Those are, I think, both of our favorite appearances. More than, we love all the parties that you go to represent and galas or whatever. But we love going to talk to people because I feel like that's what really makes the difference. It's just getting to hear about who's in your community and how can you also help them and promote what they're doing. So I love events like that. So we always try to prioritize those.
We spend a lot of time in my aging van, which we cannot get rid of because it does.
Well, it carries a lot of dresses, and so we need all the room we can get.
Full. But we spend it's really been a great time to spend together, and we talk a lot and really just hang out together a lot. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know she needs a crown too.
I saw 2 shows on YouTube last night. I love some of the historical shows. Both of them had to do with the USS North Carolina Battleship Memorial.
Oh.
And the second one was the USS North Carolina submarine.
Oh.
And
we have a submarine.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't either.
What?
the USS North Carolina submarine.
We didn't know.
I didn't know we had a submarine.
No, look, we're all like, what?
Are you making this up?
No, I was aboard said submarine for 2 nights. And
where is this thing located?
Somewhere, I don't know right now, but I was on it before it was commissioned. I was on the 7th dive.
I'm looking it up.
It was on the 7th dive. I've got is there not a cap over there that says SSN 777?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that's what I got when I was aboard it.
Oh.
I remember.
It is the USS North Carolina.
Yeah.
Did not know. I knew we had USS North Carolina. Did not know we had a submarine.
Oh, it's a Virginia class attack submarine.
Yes, it was. It and the Washington were built at the same time.
I never
No,
knew. I just
no, the
learned something.
battleship and the Washington,
Mhm.
the USS North Carolina and the USS Washington were built at the same time,
Submarine is
just prior to World War
forwarded
II.
at Joint
Yeah.
Base
And the
Pearl
North Carolina
Harbor,
battleship was in
Hawaii.
every theater of action,
Okay.
Mhm.
and
Learned something new
it sailed into
today.
Tokyo Harbor.
Oh,
You really need to take a look at that.
yeah.
And when you do, I used to do commercial photography, and one of the clients was the General Electric.
Mhm.
They produced nuclear fuel rods along with airplane engines, but they always had Japanese companies, representatives to come over to just tour their plant.
Wow.
And they had one guy, he woke up the morning after they picked him up late at night at the airport. He stayed at the Hilton downtown, and they had to move him the next morning to Riceville Beach because when he woke up, the USS North Carolina battleship was aimed in his direction. He was a little child in Tokyo
Oh.
at the end of the war when the North Carolina sailed into the port.
Mhm. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. And that that was in Tokyo? Tokyo? Or was that in North Carolina?
No, that was here in North Carolina.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But he would okay, got
He
you.
was a little kid, and
Gotcha.
now then in the
Oh my
70s he was in working for Japanese JAL, whatever that stands for.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
Now the North Carolina submarine is a great place. I was aboard that for a couple of nights.
Yeah. Now where were you board there? Like board there?
I went down to Florida
Okay.
to photograph some stuff for the boat.
Oh.
By the way,
Cool
submarines are
opportunity.
known as boats, not ships.
Uh-huh. I had heard that.
And there are not submariners on board. They're submariners. That's the way it's pronounced, not submariner.
Huh, so
Oh my goodness.
Submariner.
submariner. You would think that's almost too obvious, so you would think it's the other way.
Everybody calls us submariners, but
Yeah.
those who've been aboard, they know better. But anyway, they've got a documentary on that as well, produced by UNC.
Yeah.
So, you take a look at some of that stuff. More history in those two documentaries last night than even I knew.
Yeah. And you said they were both on YouTube?
Both on YouTube.
Oh.
Both of them you can search YouTube channel for USSNC Battleship and USSNC Submarine.
Yeah, I will. That's so interesting.
So
You
we
worked
do
a
leave
while.
for high.
Especially when you start having to answer questions and stuff. Because if I was a judge and I happened to start asking questions, and these two would have failed because they didn't even know we had a submarine that was commissioned in Wilmington in 2008.
Yeah. Right. I need to be up on my history in case I get a submarine question.
You never know.
Yeah. Right. You don't ever
How
know.
many USS North Carolinas have there been? That's the question
Don't
you'll
answer
have to
that.
answer.
Oof, I'll look it up.
Yes, right.
Right after
You
this.
won't forget it when you
You're
look it
not
up.
sending the
the judges any questions.
No.
I'm going to send them a list of my questions, but she'll have all the answers by the time they get to it.
I'll be studied up. Yes.
So when do you
Thank you.
leave to go to High Point?
I leave on Sunday morning, and that night I have an event from 6 to 8, and then I'll be up and early in the morning on Monday, ready to start the week.
Yeah,
So-
lots
Y'all
of rest.
rehearse and stuff,
Yes,
right?
I'm trying to.
Yeah, so you have rehearsals and,
I do. So I'll have rehearsals actually starting Tuesday.
okay.
And on Monday, I have a welcome event at Stock and Grain, which is a food hall in High Point. They're a big sponsor, and the community will get to come and meet and greet with all the delegates, and we'll have autograph cards we can sign for them.
Oh,
So
cool.
that'll be on
That's
Monday. Yes, and then I'll check in and I'll load all of my dresses into the backstage area and to the dressing room, and then after that night I have a Dancing Stars event, and it is with the Carolina Stars and little girls who basically have a dream to be on the Miss North Carolina stage, but they're not quite to the age yet. So I'll get to dance with them and hang out. And then Tuesday, I'll have my interview at about 1 p.m. So be praying around that time for me,
right.
please. And after my interview, I'll have rehearsals that night for Wednesday. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a packed week, but
Yeah.
yes.
It's basically a show every night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night.
Yes. Yep.
So,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Saturday, like I said, it's the big
Yeah.
finals. So that'll be the big day.
I can get you wired with an earbud behind your hair. You can't see it. And we can talk to you during your interviews on stage in case you are getting lost
We'll be
somewhere.
Googling everything for you.
We could have a whole
We'll
team
Google
in
it.
the
We'll
room
be
right here
answering.
watching, and there's your answer.
I'd probably be so distracted, I would just bomb it up there.
You'd be, wait a minute, what'd you say?
Quickest way to get
I got
disqualified.
static here.
Right?
Well, good luck, and I don't think you're going to need it.
No, you
Best
you're gonna do
wishes.
well.
Have fun,
Thank
and
you.
you will do well.
Yes,
Now,
my,
is there a special saying for Pages other
Don't
than
say
good
it.
luck?
Yeah, don't say.
well, definitely not break a leg.
No,
I try,
no.
Don't say that.
I try not
yeah.
to put that in the air, but I don't know if there's a special saying. I don't have one. I just pray. That's pretty much what I do. But I've already been praying that I won't be stressed next week, that I can just enjoy it and
Best
have fun.
wishes.
Yes, because you do better if you're just having fun and you're not walking in with a whole bunch of pressure on you. So I'm trusting that I am prepared, that I've done the work, and it's just my time to show it whenever I walk into that interview room and go on stage. So I'm trying not to worry about it, and the Lord's going to bless me. So
You'll do
Just
fine.
Trust your
Wishes.
stuff.
yes, go strut it.
Strut your stuff.
Trying
Listen,
you.
bring it on.
Yes, I will text you all with an update.
Okay.
Yes, on Sunday morning. Hopefully, I'm getting my official portrait that day and not just heading home.
Well, I'm sure your mama will be posting too. because
Oh yes,
That's how I keep up. Like you just had a brother graduate Jacksonville High School.
Yes.
Also.
yes, I did.
Yes.
Yes, which is so
Carson was
crazy.
his name.
Carson.
Yes,
Right, right.
The
Yes.
baby has
The
graduated.
baby has graduated.
Yes, and he's hoping to also
So
go to
you're free.
NC State.
Am I?
Yeah, when we come back home.
Not for the next year, you won't be.
No.
I don't know if I know how to be free.
Yeah. Well, they say empty nesters, but when you're in college, we love being home too. We love being at school and home. So, me and Ashton both, when she was at Campbell, we both come home, and we come home on the weekends sometimes. So they're not actually empty nesters. They probably hate to see us coming sometimes.
Oh, no, we do not.
Well,
Like, please
if when you
come.
pull up one day, when you get home and you pull them up and they're not living there anymore. What happened? They didn't have somebody moved.
Left no address.
No forwarding address.
Right?
They would never do that.
Yeah.
They would never do that.
That's right.
No, it's more dinners you have to cook, but you love hanging out with
I
us.
do,
So.
I do. And hopefully you'll help me figure out and sort out this whole freelance situation.
Oh,
I am
yes.
hoping to shift back into that.
That'll keep you
truly.
busy.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah,
So there are ways to do it.
good. We'll chat.
We chat.
That's right.
You know how to do the research, so we can go from there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so a lot of the freelance stuff gets to be your opinion these days. That's the
Well,
advantage that I have now. I have
Yeah, that's
opinions.
right.
I have no Miranda card. I don't have to read anybody the rights anymore.
That's
You don't
right.
have any.
Careful what you say now. Careful what you're saying.
But I don't have to advise them of their constitutional rights anymore. I used to have a rise Miranda. I'll tell you about it later. And then people, I can have an opinion about things instead of just the facts, ma'am. No,
Yeah.
it's an opinion too.
Yeah, that's right.
But I can't wait to have Miss North Carolina back in the studio.
Well, we're going to do
Thank
facts
you.
and opinions. My opinion is she's going to be Miss North Carolina. The facts are she better be.
I sure hope so. That is the prayer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Really,
so
best
much.
wishes.
Yeah.
Don't,
Yeah.
you don't need good luck. Just
Yeah.
best wishes.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I was so excited when y'all said I could come today. I was so excited to talk. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank your mom.
You're welcome.
Yes, yeah, thank you. And
She reached out and I said, of course.
yes,
That's my speed dial for
Yes.
Ernie or her or
whoever.
project
Yes,
graduation.
yes, project graduation. I
Yes.
didn't win, but it's okay.
Us either.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was worth the contribution.
We finished project graduation last week. We
Right.
just had a meeting last night just to follow up
Wrap
and
up.
all that. But we did take 3 charter buses to Busch Gardens.
I
mean,
saw
we've-
that.
Really?
I saw that.
Yes, it's maybe they've had one bus in years past, and anyway, those kids wanted to go, and we were so happy.
That's
but it
awesome.
did mean at the last minute, we have got to fundraise even more.
Right.
Maybe next
And
year you
it-
can take Miss North Carolina with
We
you.
hope so.
That would be so cool.
That would be flat cold.
See,
Yes.
everything helps the other.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I saw
Yes.
the new board members. I didn't see your name on there. You still are going to be actively involved?
Well, that was part of why we met last night. You really, about the time that you figured out how to do it
Right.
and do it well. We really could put on a project graduation now, but no, you hand it off to the new set of parents.
Right.
There's a real learning curve, but yes, we'll hand it off to the other ones. But we'll be there. That was one of the things we were writing was an after action report and just kind of
Gotcha.
let them see what
Very
we learned.
good. Very
So
good.
we're helping them
Like
get
we used to
started.
call them a postmortem, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
What else? This was the day after the paper or after the newspaper's out.
A postmortem.
It was a postmortem. We had it on TV, postmortem meeting at 6:30 every
Oh,
just to talk about what we did and what went wrong, what went
Right.
right.
Yes, exactly.
What was it called?
Postmortem, as in autopsy.
Oh, interesting choice.
Action, Catherine.
Yeah.
You'll get used to it after a while, Catherine.
That's right.
We've gotten used to it.
But we appreciated y'all for Project Graduation. Thank you so much for hyping us up. We appreciated it and spreading the word.
There's always next year, and not too early to get started.
Thank
You know
you.
we're Cardinals.
We appreciate it. It made a difference. It really did. So thank you.
Good. 3 buses. I like that.
Right.
Yes.
I know. Awesome.
Well, knock them dead.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, I'm going to do my best.
We'll be following it.
And I'll be
Thank you.
getting all the links and stuff from your mom, and we'll be posting it all week long. And we'll
Thank you so
we'll be
much.
promoting it for you. So
Thank you.
we've
I
got to
appreciate
get our
it.
Miss Gastonia in there.
That's right. Yes,
She's
upgrade
our
the
girl.
crown. Yes.
She's ours.
That's right.
That's right.
Belongs to us. We'll take you away from
That's
Gastonia.
right.
That's not a problem.
That's right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so
Have a good
much. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
We
We
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you. I really appreciate
We
it.
got to get the old man in here again too.
We
but
do,
I got to make sure
yeah.
there's no active case that I can't talk about.
Right?
That's a pain
Oh
to
my
get him
Yeah,
in here.
we've been told I got to call her, and you have to
Oh,
call her, and you
dude,
have to
he's-
call her, and we've got to.
Yeah.
We love his story.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. He has them done.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
I just sit there and like.
Somebody suggested, was it you?
Yeah.
Suggested that
Bring
we get
him and
in
Mike
and
McEwen
bring
at
Mike,
the same,
Mike McEwen
and,
here.
and you
And then we
and
just shoot the breeze
Kelly
about
and I
the
just
history.
gonna take
Ooh.
the couch. 'Cause-
That's
Take
a
it
good
out.
session for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the stories and the memories. I
Oh,
mean,
my
they talk
goodness.
about remember back in 1974. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I do.
They've seen a thing or two.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'd be a
Here and
great-
there.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
That's my daughter Candy over there. My
Oh, my
oldest daughter Candy.
I love hanging out with my daughter Allie.
Oh God, what a nice. Okay, I'll be talking here about myself for a second. But anyway, lovely young lady. So
She's gonna do well.
Oh, good God!
Yeah.
And regardless of anything, she's going to do well.
She's a good speaker too.
No
And
kidding.
she is, that's why I think she's going to do well in like the,
Interviews.
in the interviews and stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's going to do very well.
And any of the one-on-ones. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. That is a beautiful young
Oh,
lady.
she's very pretty. Yeah. And she's natural beauty. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like,
She looks just like her mama and daddy.
yeah.
now, I love shooting pictures and with people that she knows I'm doing it because it was pretty obvious and pretty
Okay.
loud. But look, just look very natural, very just really natural. And I'm not even aiming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just
She, yeah.
One shoot.
Oh, those are good.
Natural beauty.
Yeah, I heard you clicking away. I knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
It's like, but look at that, just that look. Look there.
She's a beautiful young lady.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So we'll get these posted too a little bit later on. As soon as I.
And like Kelly said, it's all natural beauty.
Yeah, she's
Just,
natural beauty.
oh,
There's
yes.
no fake here, guys. No fake.
And what I like is, like Charlie was saying, he was commenting that she's very, very humble. I like the fact that she's taken to helping people, especially the
yeah.
hunger problems.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my
We got
gosh.
that. You know, if we do that, then we don't have to worry about have to get a government involved in taking care of a business that they don't know how to take care of in the first place. We know how to do it better than they do.
I have to agree
That's
with
the way
that.
it is.
Have
Y'all
to
stick to
agree.
your business and let us take care of the issues here.
Well, we'll be posting all the links where you can donate if you would like to the scholarship fund.
Yeah,
The
that's
link that you can watch the pageant on when it's on. I'm not sure. It's probably a paid for link.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's what Kelly was telling me,
Probably.
that usually they are, but still, it can't be that much. It'd be worth it to watch.
I'd say 20. I mean, I don't know how much it is, but my thought would be $20.
But it's nothing.
Yeah, that's nothing really.
Yeah.
But we'll promote her and get the information out there. And that was a great way to end this week.
Yes.
It is. It's you know, been a good week. It's going to be. We're going to have a lot of fun, and that's just a gorgeous opportunity right there. Is
Right.
it not?
Right. She's just, he's taking a picture of her out the door.
She's going to make a good teacher too.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to make an excellent teacher.
kind.
Mhm.
You can already see the kindness.
Like I
such
said,
kindness in her.
But she's like I said, she's very genuine, like just very, very genuine.
Real to the bone.
Yeah.
You know,
All
that's
right.
just great. I like
She'll be back here again, once again,
Yeah.
as Miss North Carolina. So
Yeah, we
Should
might
be
even-
good.
How lucky are we?
If she's not too busy on that Monday afterwards, we might want to have her by phone.
She'll start
Yes.
that time. She'll
I
do.
think we'll have
Oh,
access.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We will, yeah,
Regardless,
definitely.
win, lose, or draw. It's be good to have her because the experience, I've seen a lot of, because of the profession I was in, I've seen a lot of young ladies go into these, and they talk about the experience afterwards.
Right,
It's a
Yeah.
learning experience that
Oh,
she
yeah.
would not be getting anywhere else.
right.
And like she
I
said,
mean-
the making of the contacts and all
Yeah.
that stuff too. But I mean, I think she actually did do it right, not starting off overly
Oh, God,
young,
yes.
because she got her stage
They get
experience.
burned out otherwise.
They do, but they become fake. If
Right.
you watch those, you can always
John
spot what I
Benet
call a fake contestant. Like they don't have any genuineness because I think sometimes they get, when they start real young, they grow up become too big for the britches. They keep hearing the this
They
or
become
that.
professional.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a professional student, is a professional pageant person.
Yeah, it's just not. But she started off doing dance,
Mhm.
and that prepared her for the stage part.
Yep.
So
She's-
I think
she's
she's
good.
going to
She's gonna
do
do
well.
well.
If she doesn't win this, I will absolutely be shocked.
Well, and well, I'll tell you something else now. I've seen a lot of people say, "Hey, golly, there are no losers up there."
Not at all.
First of all, you've got to
and you got
understand,
to work your butt off to get
just to get there,
Yes.
you are our winner.
there. Absolutely.
It just saddens me though that Onslow County and Jacksonville are no longer.
It used to be the JCs that
Doing
ran
any-
the pageant.
Are the
here.
JCs still even a
I
thing?
don't know. It used to do that, and it was a preliminary for the Miss
I used to be a
Carolina.
I
JC
thought, do we not
Well,
have Stacey's
like
thing
a
out
week.
there? I thought we did.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But there could be an organization to take it on. It's a
Right.
lot. It's a lot of work for an
It's a
organization
lot of work.
to
This-
put on a Miss Onslow County pageant and to do it in such a way that it is sanctioned by the Miss America program.
Mhm.
It is a big deal. It's not an easy thing to do, and you have to abide by the rules.
well,
I mean,
you've
it's-
worked quite a few of them,
Yeah,
haven't you?
No,
Well, I mean, as a photographer,
Yes, I have.
yes.
they've got more rules than the Marlin tournament's got.
Oh
And
my!
you can screw up and
And we didn't get a chance, but they finally updated the page, and so Monday
we'll talk about it.
we can get a minute and talk about who won
Okay,
what.
Monday we'll do all of that and a lot more. I want you guys to have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, if
It's going to be a good one.
you're going to go out on your boat, it's going to be hot
And be careful of the
and hotter next week.
rip currents. There's still a beach
Rip currents are
advisory.
there. The ocean for the fishermen. Oh,
And the
God,
sharks.
Yeah,
flat.
sail a lot.
It's the
Flat.
50th anniversary of Jaws. Don't go in the water.
It's a-
Someone should go to the beach with a giant speaker and blast the Jaws theme.
Don't,
and see
don't.
what
I
happens.
like
Don't.
that.
Yeah.
Kelly, let's take your DJ
We'll
stuff
take it
down there.
and set up and
Dun,
just
dun.
play the song and see what people do.
Dun,
and look
dun.
around
I
like,
got
where's
a
that coming
trailer.
from?
I got a trailer.
Dun, dun.
Yeah.
We could take the trailer down there.
Oh, heck yeah.
and decorate it as Jaws.
Oh.
We could get one of those sharks from one of those.
I know
Shark
what you can
places.
do is we'll get you a fin hat.
Yeah, and have you
And you
snorkel
can
around
go
in there.
underwater.
Yeah. I dive under
I
there.
wanted to do that one time.
I wonder what people would do.
I wanted to do something.
beat them up.
I mean,
That would be funny.
They
though.
actually, in the Jaws movie, a guy did that.
Yeah, they did. It
actually.
was
One
a
of them.
kid
Yeah,
did
yeah,
it,
it was a
wasn't it?
kid. Yeah.
Yeah, they
But yeah,
did that.
oh, we should do that.
He cleaned the
Dun,
beach out.
Yeah,
though,
it
didn't
sure
he?
did clean
No,
the beach
everybody
out.
got out of the water.
And then we
didn't they?
raced up and they had their guns and they, yeah.
Oh, this
although we
beach
need
is
to do that.
packed. There's no place to put your chair. Dun dun.
Yeah, we
Dun,
get it
dun.
out there quick.
Dun,
yeah.
dun, dun, dun. And oh yeah, we'll
I
clean
think-
it out
I
quick.
think what we need to do is get dressed up as a shark, swim up on the beach, then get up and walk. That would scare the kids to death, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would do it.
Sharknado.
Yeah, it would Sharknado, yes.
Sharknado.
All right, we're being silly. We
I
will
know.
see you on Monday.
Right.
Have a great weekend. Just be safe. Don't let us start reading about you on
Yes.
Monday. Okay. I
Right.
don't want to read about
Stay
you.
hydrated.
Don't
be
want to
careful
hear
on the
about you.
roads.
I
Right.
want you to call us on Monday.
Don't drink and drive.
It's still
no,
cloudy.
no,
Right.
no. You're live and local Real Talk. We'll be back on Monday, I think.
Yes, we
will be awake by
start
then.
all over again for the week.
I'll be awake all weekend. Hopefully, Robbie will be coming home this weekend.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I'm hoping the best for her sister. In a few hours, she goes back under the knife for the second or third time. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye.